Hey, it's me, Max, and I'm in Vancouver right now working on my TV show. But I did want to take a second to talk to you guys about narrative traps, fake strong female characters, and a video game that I really liked called Uncharted 4. So, the Uncharted games historically have had really tropey storytelling, but they love it and they dive right into it. It's Indiana Jones plus wish fulfillment. You're a guy with incredibly strong grip strength who can hang off ledges and goes around the world killing literally thousands of people as he accidentally demolishes ancient cities. And what's good about the games is the characterization, the flow of story, the worlds. I mean, you have great characters in all four games, but the fourth game has something they haven't really had before, which is it has it falls into a narrative trap. And I'm going to talk about the narrative trap very briefly. So first of all, what is a narrative trap? It's a term I use, and it's an occurrence that happens to you while you're a writer, where you fall into doing something easy because it's a trope and you've seen it before, and you need to evoke an emotion. And you don't do it intentionally. It happens subconsciously because of your exposure to storytelling. You go, oh, this happens, and that's what I need to make people feel that way. And you don't even think that. It just flows right out into your work. So let's talk about the character Nadine. Nadine is the leader of a private army that she inherited from her father. You have this character established as physically dominant. At one point, she fights you and defeats you. Then she fights both you and your brother and defeats you both. You have her set up as smart and capable. She is able to track Nathan Drake, the adventurer, all around the world. And finally, you have her set up as having a very sort of weird dynamic with this guy, Rafe, who's sort of this like smarmy, upper class, rich kid who's obsessed with finding this treasure. And they have this weird, it's not clear if they're fucking, but there's a weird tension there that she is clearly in charge of. In fact, at every juncture we see in their relationship, she is in charge and he's just the money. And Rafe's a very interesting character. He's a rich kid who never earned anything, and now needs to prove himself because, he wants to prove he earned something for once in his life. It's actually a fun motivation for a villain. So here we go. The entire game's theme is about greed. It's about the idea that greed is a destructive force, and obsession is even worse. It lifts liberally storytelling elements from my favorite book, Treasure Island, which is one of the books that inspired me to be a writer, in that the idea that having treasure means you're gonna die. Hey, if you have money, someone's coming to get it. If you have a friend, they're gonna betray you. That's the way being a pirate works. And you sort of follow the trail of a series of betrayals and fucked up things all around the world as you, the characters, unknowingly act out a series of betrayals all around the world, sort of echoing back the story of a long-lost treasure. And then you find the treasure. So here's where Nadine becomes a problem. She becomes a fake, strong female character. Now, when people say strong female character, and trust me, I've had some time online to think about this, what they mean gets blurry. Do they mean a woman who can beat you up? Ideally not. That's not what strong female characters should mean. What it should mean is the character, like women in real life, is about more than just having a vivi. It's about them having more than tata, and also more than baba. They have, a personality separate from that. Their conversations aren't always about men. They're not necessarily subservient to men unless it's their job. They're treated like a real person. The strength isn't in their imaginary muscles. It's in the architecture of the dynamics you build on the page or in the video game or in the movie or on the stage in that person's mentality, personality, and soul. Right? It's an architectural statement, architecturally strong. This character holds up to dissection, and there are no contradictions within them. Uh-oh, we found the treasure, and here comes the narrative trap. At this point in the game, in my eyes, you have two obvious options. One of them is a narrative trap, and one of them is a trope. You choose the trope over the trap every time, in my eyes. You do something you've seen before and execute it well, instead of doing something that would just be easy because it's how you want the story to go. Nadine should be the main villain of this game. She is the owner of a private army that has committed atrocities. They literally say atrocities all over the world. Rafe, so close to the treasure, should either be killed off by Nadine by surprise, or made her prisoner and sort of turned good by proxy. That's what should happen. And yeah, that's a trope. The tough sidekick bodyguard takes over and they were really in charge the whole time. But that's what they've been setting up the whole fucking game!
I wanted to steal that cross long before it ever even made it to that auction. The same auction where I couldn't have my men around to deal with any surprises.
The auction was the cleanest way to get the cross.
But instead of going with my gut, I listened to you. And now we have competition.
Instead, literally 15 minutes before the end of the game, less, Rafe is suddenly in charge of Nadine. He yells at her when she tries to leave, and then physically strikes her. And sure, she hits him back and gets her power back, but then it turns out that he's bought off her army. That the whole game has been established as being fucking fiercely loyal to her. So it's like, Nadine turns on Rafe, good for her, gets the moral high ground for walking away from the treasure, and rides off into the motherfucking sunset with her atrocity army as you're left to sword fight a character who you've been told the whole game is a pussy. Narrative trap! There it is! There! It happened! It happened! What happened? Well, we didn't want to have the strong female character be the bad guy so late in the game, so we fell back into a trope. She's abused by a man, and so she's the victim, which in theory allows us to emotionally sort of side with her when she turns on Rafe and abandons them. Fuck her! For what? I remember when that happened when I was playing the game, I went, what? Because she's a fucking monster! She's the character who you give the actually greed is bad moment, and then that's the last you see of her?
Everyone obsessed with his treasure gets what they deserve.
Video games are they're series. But this is supposed to be the end of Uncharted. And the villain of the game, not intentionally, not via design, via an accident, a narrative trap, is given a walking card to choose a more obvious ending with a male versus male sword fight. Literally a dick measuring contest in a ship. No, fucking stab Nadine in the heart! What are you doing? She's the one who's been established as physically dominant. Nathan Drake should be sword fighting her! Why is he sword fighting some preppy guy who couldn't even get out of prison without him? Who couldn't even find the treasure without him? And suddenly, like, Rafe is saying, like, I'm so jealous of Nathan Drake. It's a writing thing. I'm not a huge gamer. I like some video games. I like the Uncharted games. But I think this is as clean an example of falling into a narrative trap and abusing the potential of one of your characters as you could hope to find. And I like Uncharted 4. This isn't an Uncharted sucks video. This is for writers and storytellers. If you have an opportunity to be true to your character over your story, take it. But the choice was made at some point that Rafe was the villain of this game. And if you play the game, he's not.
You want the treasure, Rafe? It's all yours.
Let your characters surprise the audience. Let them surprise themselves. But don't puppet them like little fucking finger puppets to do the thing you need to happen in the story.
Everyone obsessed with his treasure gets what they deserve.
I hope this helped, and I hope you can apply what I said to your writing, even though my example is pretty specific. Have a good day, and buy Uncharted 4. It's really fun. The Uncharted games are really dumb and really fun, and really kind of clever in the way they're executed. Have a good day.